I've learned more crucial life lessons since turning 40 than in all my earlier years combined. The hard truth? I wasted my 20s and 30s, trying to figure them out the hard way. If I had gotten this wisdom when I was younger, I'd be miles ahead today. That's why I'm sharing with you the 10 things that I would tell my 20-year-old self if I could, so you don't have to learn the hard way like me. You can skip the regrets and level up faster. I'm Ryan Sahlberg, a 46-year-old retired Marine Corps officer. I grew up with two boomer parents, and while they are great people, they didn't exactly equip me with the tools necessary to get ahead in life. So let's dive in. So number 1, don't waste money eating out at restaurants or at the bar. So here's something nobody told me when I was 20. Every dollar you spend eating out, that's a dollar that's not going towards building something that matters. It's not about the money disappearing. It's about what you could have built instead. Think about it this way. If you're spending $50, $100, or even $200 at the bar or restaurant every week, you're making a personal choice. You're choosing temporary pleasure over permanent assets. You're choosing to fund someone else's business instead of building your own, creating your own wealth. I didn't see it this way when I was younger. I just thought I'm young, I work hard, so I deserve it, and I didn't think anything of it. And yes, you get to enjoy life, but here's the reality. The friends you're buying shots for and drinks for, they're probably not going to be in your life in 10 years. I'm not saying you won't be friends with them anymore, but you all will have families by then. Your focus and your friends' focus will be on their families. The nights you can't even remember, they're gone forever. But if you had invested that money, it could still be working for you today. Let me give you a different perspective. If you're spending $200 on eating and drinking every week, that's about $10,400 a year. Now, what if instead of spending that money, you use it as seed capital for a side hustle, or bought dividend-paying stocks, or saved it as a down payment on a rental property? In 5 years, that's $52,000 that you could have used to build your wealth. That's a down payment on a house. That's startup capital for a business. And here's what really gets me. It's not just the money, it's the time. All those hours sitting at a bar, nursing a hangover, or just being unproductive, that's time I could have used to build wealth in a business. That time is gone forever. You can't get it back. You could have been learning a skill, building a business, generating wealth, working out, reading, networking. There's all kinds of things you could have been doing with that time. The wealthy don't hang out at bars all week. They're at home planning, strategizing, and building. They're investing their time and money into assets. So my advice and what I tell my 20-year-old self is to treat eating out and drinking as what it is. It's a luxury, not something you're going to do all the time. It shouldn't be a lifestyle. If you must, I'd say once a month, maybe twice a month if it's a special occasion. So the rest of the time, cook at home, invest, build something, learn a new skill, anything more productive with that time. So number 2, question everything. Don't just accept the narrative. So growing up, I was taught to trust authority. Teachers, police officers, news anchors, doctors, anyone in an official position, part of an institution. If they had credentials, I believed them. Here's what I learned. Everyone has an agenda. The media has an agenda. Politicians have an agenda. Government agencies have an agenda. Even the so-called experts, they usually have a conflict of interest or biases that color their advice. Unfortunately, many scientists are bought and paid for to produce specific results paid for by big business. There are hundreds of examples. Don't believe me? In 2016, there was a study published in the JAMA Internal Medicine Journal titled Sugar Industry and Coronary Heart Disease, a historical analysis of internal industry documents. In it, researchers dive into studies from the 1960s where the sugar industry funded research to link heart disease to fat. Then take this 2025 study titled Revisiting 2,000 Years of Climate Change, Bad Science and the Hockey Stick, where they dive into questionable funding for climate alarmists. The point of this isn't to make a political video. I'm not saying you have to be a conspiracy theorist or anything. What I'm saying is think for yourself. Do your own research. When someone presents information as facts, ask questions. Who benefits from this narrative? What's the evidence? What are they not telling me? This applies to everything. Your health, your finances, your career, your politics. Don't just swallow what you're fed. Do your own research. Come to your own conclusions. The ability to think critically and question authority is one of the most valuable skill sets that you can develop. So that brings us to our next point. Number 3, the label expert. It's lost all meaning. We live in a world where everyone claims to be an expert. Social media influencers, talking heads on TV that are reading a script, overeducated mouthpieces who rely solely on how much education they've had, Studies funded by the very industries they're supposed to be investigating. I saw this in the military. I see this in business now. I see it everywhere. Someone gets a title, a platform, or a degree, and suddenly they're treated as an authority, even when they're wrong, biased, or outright lying. Here's my advice. Trust needs to be earned and not given based on credentials. Don't trust anything or anyone until they've proven themselves through actions and results. Watch what people do, not what they say. Look at their track record. Follow the money. And when someone says, trust the experts, be very skeptical. Real experts welcome questions and scrutiny. Frauds, they try to shut down debate. Here's my rule of thumb. During a debate, if someone has to list off their educational credentials, it probably means they don't have an argument or it's really weak. If someone is really knowledgeable about a topic, it'll come through in their speech. They don't need to say, oh, I have my doctorate in this field of study, so I know better than you. Their argument is dead in the water the minute they cite their education. All right, now we're at point number 4. Buy real estate when you can. Don't rent. This is one of my biggest regrets. I rented for years, and I had the luxury of being in the Marine Corps, so I moved every 2 to 3 years. This would have been a perfect opportunity for me to buy up real estate. I could have bought a house at every duty station, lived there, and then when I executed orders, I could have rented the house out. But nobody educated me on the value of real estate. Every stop I made, I'd always rent because I didn't want to be saddled with a mortgage. And then when I finally did buy real estate, I bought a 2-bedroom townhouse, not a single-family home, because I didn't want to have a large mortgage. My realtor didn't explain to me how it'd be much easier to rent out or sell a single-family home over a 2-bedroom townhouse, or how a single-family home appreciates more over time than a 2-bedroom townhouse. I'm not blaming her, but it's all my fault. I should have been building equity instead of renting. Every month, I was paying someone else's mortgage and building their wealth instead of mine. I know real estate's really expensive right now, and we're in a bubble, but that's a topic for another day. But if you can scrape together some money for a down payment on a single-family home or even a condo, that's great. Do it, and here's why. First off, real estate appreciates. Historically, over time, it always goes up in price. Yes, we do have setbacks like in 2008, and we could possibly have one here soon if the prices ever come down, but over time it appreciates. And second, it's a forced savings plan. Every time you rent out your house, you're putting their rent check into your mortgage, and that's building equity. And then third, you can leverage real estate to build wealth. You can refinance, you can rent it out, you can use the equity for other investments. Even if you have to live with roommates to make the numbers work, do it. I had plenty of roommates in my 20s. Get on the property ladder as early as you can. And just to note, none of this is financial advice. I'm just telling you what I would have done when I was 20. And don't fall for the I'll buy when I'm more established trap. The longer you wait, the more expensive it gets. Interest rates go up, prices go up, inflation eats away at your wealth. But buy when you're young, even if it's scary. Your 40-year-old self will thank you for it. So that brings me to my 5th point. You don't have to go to college if it doesn't make sense for you. I know this is controversial, but it needs to be said. I went to college, I got my degree, but looking back on it, I don't know if it was worth it. And today, for what tuition prices are, it's even worse. Unless you're going to a field that absolutely requires it, like medical, law, or engineering, you need to seriously question whether it makes sense or not. A 4-year degree nowadays can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's a massive investment, so what's the return on it? If you're going to get a liberal arts degree and you just end up working in retail or being a barista, was it really worth it? You wasted 4 years and 6 figures. You could have spent that time and money learning a trade or building a business or working your way up in a company or investing that money. Here's what I wish somebody told me. Don't just go to college because it's the next step in life. Go if it makes strategic sense for your career goals. Otherwise, consider alternatives like trade school. So my life goal was to be a Marine Corps officer. So I needed to go to college, and I did. But looking back on it, was it all worth it? I don't know. There's different avenues I could have taken. I could have enlisted and got the GI Bill and then went to college. Or just done 4 years in the Marines and then just built a business. Anyways, there are plenty of successful people who didn't finish college. There are also plenty of broke people with fancy degrees. Education matters, but it doesn't guarantee success. But skills, work ethic, and results, they matter more. So we're going to switch lanes here and talk about a completely different topic. So this is the 6th thing I would tell my 20-year-old self. Prioritize sleep, and most everything else will fall into place. I know this sounds too simple to matter, but sleeping is everything. When I was younger, I thought sleeping was for the weak. I would pull all-nighters, function on 4 or 5 hours of sleep, and I'd just drink a lot of coffee to compensate. But looking back on it, I was an idiot. I went to the Citadel, the military college of South Carolina, and there it was like a badge of honor how little you slept. And the Marine Corps had a similar mentality too, but I was an idiot. But here's what nobody told me. Sleeping affects everything. Your decision making, your mood, your physical performance, your immune system, ability to build muscle, your metabolism, your memory and learning. And there's several others. When you're sleep deprived, you make worse decisions. This is a fact. Every time I was scammed or fell for some scam, I was on about 3 or 4 hours of sleep. And when I was stationed at Parris Island, the Marine Corps recruit depot, drill instructors would make really bad decisions all the time, and then they'd get dealt with. Were they just bad people? No. They just didn't get enough sleep. They're all sleep deprived. Of course, there were some bad drill instructors, but they're the minority. It all came down to how sleep deprived they were. If you know anything about the Marine Corps, drill instructors are notoriously sleep deprived. Also, you're more irritable when you're sleep deprived. You eat junk food, you have little willpower, you get sick more often, everything is harder. Get 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep every night. Make it non-negotiable. Turn off your phone an hour before bed. Keep your room cool and dark. Establish a routine. I know it's tempting to sacrifice sleep for work, partying, or entertainment. I was notoriously guilty of it when I was younger. But even watching TV, you don't need to watch that one more episode, because that can lead into 2 more episodes or 3 more episodes. Just go to bed. You're not being more productive by sleeping less. You're just functioning at 70% capacity all the time. Sleep well, and everything else becomes easier. All right, so this next one goes hand in hand with sleeping. Number 7, have a good diet and stay active. Your 20s are when most people can get away with eating garbage. Processed food, fast food, all that kind of stuff. Energy drinks. Your metabolism can handle it, so you think it doesn't matter, but you're wrong. What you eat now affects your energy, your mental clarity, your mood, your long-term health. If you're eating processed crap all the time, you're going to feel like crap. You'll be sluggish, foggy, irritable. A lot of mental health and physical ailments are caused by what you eat. Take this 2022 study published in Frontiers in Psychiatry titled Nutrition and Mental Health, a review of current knowledge about the impact of diet on mental health. This study shows evidence that diets high in processed food or nutrient-poor foods can be associated with mental health issues like anxiety or depression and other mental disorders. Another study titled Association of Dietary Intake with Chronic Disease and Human Health. This details how poor nutrition drives conditions like obesity, type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and cancers. For anecdotal evidence, look at Michaela Peterson. She has cured severe chronic disease by using the Lion Diet, which the Lion Diet is just a very strict form of carnivore. She has extensively documented her journey. If that wasn't reason enough, there's also the fact that you're creating good habits and discipline. The habits you build now are going to stick with you for a long time. If you train your body to crave junk food in your 20s, you're going to struggle with weight and health issues in your 30s and 40s. Here's my advice. Learn to cook real food, emphasize protein, and if you are going to eat carbs, focus on vegetables and low-sugar fruits. Your body is a machine, so fuel it properly, and you'll perform better. Fuel it with garbage, and you'll get garbage results. And here's another thing. Good nutrition compounds over time. The healthier you are now, the easier it's going to be when you're older. Don't wait until your 40s and when you're dealing with health problems to care about your diet. And next, you got to pair that good nutrition with physical activity. Being a Marine, I was pretty active, but partying got in the way of some of my physical activity. It prevented me from reaching my full potential. If I could do it over, I would do that bodybuilding routine or that strength training routine. I would learn to do Olympic lifting. I would have strived for that 18-minute 3-mile run. So nowadays, I work out 5 days a week and I run too. I'm very disciplined today, but I just don't have the energy anymore to strive for that big lift or that new PR on my bench or on my squat. Don't let alcohol or TV get in the way of your goals. Your body in your 20s is capable of incredible things, so don't waste it. So sleeping well, eating well, and being active, that's going to lead us right into our next point. Number 8, focus on your testosterone levels and listen to your body. This is going to be extremely important for males in their 20s because you don't want to have low testosterone. So if you're an American male, there's a good chance that your testosterone is in the dumps. Everything in America is toxic. Our food, our skincare products, our daily household cleaning products. So when I was married to my ex, I couldn't have kids. So my doctors were testing my testosterone levels. It was low, way too low for a 30-year-old male. It was somewhere in the high 200s to low 300s. So fast forward to my 40s, I started making lifestyle changes. For one, I changed my diet. I ate a lot of red meat and eggs. Next, I essentially stopped drinking alcohol. I changed my soap, I changed my shampoo, my toothpaste, my underwear, and several other things. So the last time when I checked my testosterone when I was 45 years old, it was in the mid 700s. It was at about 750. That is a far cry from 300. But my lifestyle changes more than doubled my testosterone levels. And that's at 45. I was 32 when it was down in the low 300s. You don't need TRT. That's just being lazy. That's just looking for the easy way out. You can easily get your testosterone up by making some lifestyle changes. So this brings me to my next point. Listen to your body and fix it. So yes, of course, sometimes you're going to need surgery or maybe pharmaceuticals, but you'd be surprised on how much you can fix on your own. So for example, I had bad arthritis in my knee. So bad I got 2 injections in my left knee. Those work on average maybe about a year, year and a half, maybe 2 years if you're lucky. And then you'll need another one. So in 2021, I went on the carnivore diet. And since I've been on the carnivore diet, the arthritis in my left knee is completely gone, or it's in remission. I haven't had an injection since 2020. So exhaust all means necessary to fix an ailment. So the bottom line is that your body will tell you what's wrong if you pay attention. Don't just accept declining health as inevitable. So take action, make changes, and fix what needs fixing. All right, so we're going to shift gears again for number 9. Don't go into debt trying to support an unsustainable lifestyle. This is huge. In my 20s and 30s, I made this mistake. I wanted to look successful. I wanted nice things. So I spent money I didn't have on things I didn't need to impress people I didn't even like. In 2010, when I came back from Afghanistan, I bought a 2011 Mustang GT. Now, I won't lie, I loved that car. But I dropped $15,000 on a down payment. Now, what would that $15,000 be worth now if I put it towards Bitcoin or Amazon stock and drove around in a used Honda Accord? I don't even want to know. Don't try to keep up with the Joneses. You don't need that new phone every year. You don't need to drive a luxury car. You don't need to wear top-of-the-line clothing. Debt is a trap. Yes, there are ways to leverage debt to increase your wealth, but that's not what I'm talking about. Although if you're going to do that, make sure you know what you're doing. I'm talking about credit cards, car loans, personal loans, stuff like that. They chain you to a lifestyle that you cannot sustain. They steal your freedom. When I was enlisted, I stupidly took out loans for like $500 or $1,000 just to support my lifestyle. And what was I doing with those loans? Spending it on crap I didn't need or going to a bar. So live below your means. Drive a cheap, reliable car. Live in a modest place. Wear normal clothes. Save and invest the difference. Your future self will be incredibly grateful. And here's the truth. Real wealth is freedom. The ability to quit a job you hate, that's freedom. The freedom to take risks, the freedom to spend time with your family, debt destroys that freedom. Don't trade decades of freedom for a few years of looking cool. All right, so for the 10th and final point, look for a girl that you're going to marry, not just hooking up with girls. Your 20s are a time to find a quality woman and build a life together, not to rack up a body count. That means nothing. Casual hookups might seem great in the moment, but they don't build anything. They don't create lasting happiness. They don't teach you how to be in a real relationship. They just waste time and energy. And money. So here's what I wish I would have done in my 20s. Look for a woman with good values, good character, and life goals compatible with mine. Someone who wants to build something together. Someone who's loyal, supportive, and shares your vision of the future. Don't chase the hottest woman at a bar. Chase the woman who's going to be a great mother to your kids. The girl who's going to have your back when times get tough. The girl who's going to grow with you and not hold you back. And when you find her, treat her right. Be faithful, be present, invest in the relationship. Because if you want kids, you need to find the right partner early and build a strong foundation. The modern dating culture is toxic. It pushes people to treat relationships as disposable, to prioritize superficial attraction over character, and to delay commitment indefinitely. Don't fall for it. Find someone worth marrying and build a life together. Now here's a hard truth. If you've dated a girl for 1 year and you can't see yourself marrying her, just cut her loose. If you can't figure that out in a year, then it's not going to happen. This might sound harsh, but in the long run, you're doing what's best for her. If you're in your 20s, you get to grow up together. You'll develop habits together, you will learn together, and you won't have all that extra baggage. So these are the 10 things that I'd tell my 20-year-old self if I could go back in time. But I can't. All I can do is share them with you and hope that you'll heed my advice. Because I know how hard it is to take advice from someone who's older when you're young and you think you know everything. I get it. I was there. I thought I was invincible. I thought I had all the time in the world. I thought I figured it out as I went. I did figure it out eventually, but it took me 20 years and countless mistakes to learn what I just told you in 12 minutes. You don't have to make the same mistakes. You can start implementing this advice today. If this video resonated with you, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. And drop a comment to tell me which one resonated with you the most, or if there's something I missed that you wish you learned earlier. And check out my other videos. Thanks for watching.